What's cracking, boys? This is the anatomy of man. Let's break it down. Me with the intro. We got a whiteboard session going on here. So let's begin breaking down all of this stuff. So at the center of a man, we find his nucleus. This is who you are. At the center of everything is who you are as a man. Now, a layer above that, I'm going to run through the whole thing, and then we'll break it down a little bit more. Above this, we have your core beliefs. These are the things that are often spoken over us from when we're in the womb, when we are first born, and all throughout our lives. So these are things that we hold very dear to us more often than not. It's a little sneak peek for later. We tend to think this is who we are. Then we have, we'll do some purple for this one. Then we have your feelings, subconscious, a lot of this stuff. So the things that you'll just feel without even really thinking about it. Feelings will go up orange for this. Let me know if you guys can see this stuff. Above that we have our thoughts. Above that level of thoughts, we have our actions. And then at the very tippity top here, we have our results or outcomes. Now, most of us, especially as men, are conditioned or just have a tendency to focus purely on the results and the outcomes here, achieving those things from an action standpoint. So we just focus here. This is all we do a lot of the time. Results and outcomes focused. What do I need to do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Don't get me wrong. This can work. It does work to a degree, but I'm going to show you how it's limited in its scope. You can already kind of see how that approach is quite limited, because if you take action that isn't in alignment with something deeper down here, it causes issues, it causes misalignment, and it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. We'll go here. It doesn't feel right a lot of the time. So something doesn't feel right. That's where you can achieve that. You see people end up achieving things, but they're like, what's the point? What's my life? Like, is this it? Is this all there is to life? But even if they do achieve stuff, because it might come from a place that's not aligned with some of the stuff that's lower down here. So what we want to do is actually get as aligned as possible, as deep down as possible. My wife's looking at me. Because when you make shifts, like we have certain thoughts, certain feelings, certain core beliefs, and a certain aspect of who we are. When you shift certain thoughts to those that are more successful, more in alignment with who you're called to be, it will affect the level up here. Yes, affects here. But what it won't do is it won't affect anything lower than it. So when you change thoughts, they won't necessarily change your feelings, or it's not as effective. More so, should I say. And especially as men, we're not really told to tune into this stuff, the mushy feeling stuff. We're more about action and getting stuff done. And I've definitely been that man before as well. And it works. However, we'll see that it's very limited in scope. So, when you can affect a change deeper down, like one thing up here might affect, it's like one for one kind of thing. You affect one action, it can kind of affect one outcome, or like it's very limited. But when you affect something deeper down, like if you affect something feelings-wise, it'll affect like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 thoughts, and then like 20 to 50, these are arbitrary numbers, 100 actions as a result. So it's much more effective if you can go to that level of your feelings. Now, I know a lot of guys might be like, ugh, I don't care about feelings. That's fine. Look into that. But when we can start getting down to the level of our core beliefs and our nucleus, who we are, that's where we can affect the most significant change. Obviously, the way that we're going with this, the most significant changes we can affect are who we are, identity work, who we choose to be. Now, when it comes to core beliefs, like I mentioned before, we might touch on this more in another video, but we tend to think because these are so core to us, some of them might be great, but a lot of them are given to us from other people. And think about it like a pair of glasses. A lot of the time, you're looking through glasses, but through the glasses of core beliefs, we don't realize that we're looking through them, we are looking as them. A lot of the time we think we are these core beliefs, and when we're given stuff, this is where it can be really, a lot of inner work can be really difficult, because we're affecting change in something that is so deep, that you think is so deeply embedded into who you are as a person, that it feels unsafe. Your subconscious doesn't want to do it. It doesn't want to acknowledge a lot of the change. So that's where, a lot of the self-sabotage stuff comes in, because it wants to protect a lot of these core beliefs, because it's like, who am I without this stuff, especially, and that's where a lot of masculinity traits in that come in, like I just have to take action, and that's what it's all about, and I have to work hard, and I have to struggle in order to achieve things. So that's what we have about the core beliefs. Something that can affect that, of course, we can try, put effort in, move around the core beliefs and that. There's time and place for that. I have found the most effective place to go to is who you are. Because if you affect who you are, it will affect everything above it, every layer above it, fully. So it's not even like, just like a finite number of this, that, however many things. It will affect every single layer above it, every single action, and that will make all the results and outcomes that you achieve as, I didn't spell that right, natural as breathing, which is cool. That's what we want to do. So we want to make these things as natural as breathing, because if you can make things as natural as breathing, it's like you don't even have to think about it. If you can make success and living a fulfilling life as natural as breathing, it just comes naturally. It just is what it is, And that's a really powerful thing, because if you think about the best things that we have in life, like breathing, we don't think about them, we don't have to force them, we just are, and it happens. And because of that, we can build upon that. We are capable of so many things, because we don't have to consciously do all these things. So if we just operate at that level of actions, even thoughts, it's a lot of like conscious effort and like force in that, which works. Again, it works, but it's not required. If we go deeper and deeper down into your nucleus, who you are, then everything falls into place above that. And this aspect, who you are, that's the most aligned and the purest place to come from, because that is who we are as given by God. So God assigns us who we are before we're even born, before we're even conceived. That's where you're going to find the most alignment in life. And that's where a lot of guys were raised with core beliefs that aren't actually fully in alignment with who God's given us the choice to be. And as a result of that, we end up, that's where the phrase "most men lead lives of silent desperation" comes from, in large part due to the fact that we are out of alignment with who God's called us to be. The cool thing is, though, this is just a choice. Like, you can make this choice anytime, whether it's now or 20 years from now, 20 years ago, You can just make, okay, yeah. You can just make that choice anytime. And that's the beautiful thing, is your life gets to be what you choose it to be, because God's given us that power, that spark of God, to share. We share in God's power to be able to choose. So it becomes as simple as choosing who we are. And this is why your identity is so powerful. Like, who you are affects everything. And the more consciously aware we can be of, or the more intentionally aligned we can be with who we are, the more fulfilling our lives are without even having to think about it. And that's it, basically. There's a little breakdown of that. Just had that spark and wanted to share it with you boys. Let me know if you got any questions. That's it. Yeah. If you are, bless you, if you are interested in finding out more, then I'm offering from this 5 free identity calls, identity consults, you could say, in which we can really suss out who you are in alignment with God. So first 5 boys to message me identity will get that. Remember, this is all the art of being man. Embody that, and it'll be all gravy, baby. This is live. I can just delete it. Yeah. All right. Bah. Why?